The sympathetic strings of the sitar are below these very large frets that you use to bend the playing strings. Just like the pipa, you do have the plectrums that you insert into your fingers and you strum it just like you do the pipa, but it is a much larger instrument. Let's enjoy. The Veena is another one of those very ubiquitous instruments from India that could share the spot of being the quintessential Indian instrument together with the sitar. And the reason for that is it comes from the south, and although it has the same shape of the sitar, it has movable strings that you bend, you pluck them the same way. The frets this time are fixed. Let's enjoy. The tanpura is the instrument that we have mentioned before. It's a 4-string drone chordophone. Not very hard to play, also not very exciting to play. Next is the sarangi. The sarangi, and again, if I mispronounce it, my apologies. It's called 100 Voices, and it is to say it is said to be the instrument that best resembles the whole range, the whole tessitura of the human voice. And it is played in a very, I think as a guitar player, I would have to say, painful way, where the cuticles of your fingers are the ones that are touching the string or rubbing across the string as you play on your left hand. So you're not pressing the strings right on them, but you're actually rubbing your cuticle against those strings, and that vibration must cause some damage as you're learning how to play the instrument. It's a beautiful sounding bowed chordophone, and just as much as the sitar or the veena, it actually has quite a bit of sympathetic strings, 32 to 35, and then you have 3 playing strings. Those tend to be made of gut. You have a membrane that is spread across a gourd, and that is what works as your resonating top of the instrument. Let's listen to it.
The sarangi is basically one piece of wood into which the wooden pegs are inserted. The belly is hollow, carved out, covered with parchment, goat skin. The foot of the bridge touches the rim of the belly, and that itself transmits the sound. We have three main strings, mostly of all gut strings, and about 30 to 35 sympathetic strings of thin gauge steel. The 3 main strings are of gut, but I use the lowest one. I use the metal string from the cello. The strings are tuned, the main strings, the tonic of the middle octave, lower fifth, and lower octave. And there are 30 to 35 sympathetic strings made of thin gauge steel. They are tuned to the notes of the raga or the scale. There are 4 sets of sympathetic strings. There are 2 on top, tuned definitely to the scale, and you see those small bridges which give a special timbre, some twang to it, which excites the other sets of sympathetic strings to resonate. So we have the side series, which is again and also tuned to the scale. And there are underneath chromatic strings. It has a easily playable range of 3 octaves, and the 4th is used only for harmonics.
The sarod is quite a fantastic instrument, again from the north of India, and it's very similar to the Afghan rubab. uh, 4 to 5 playing strings, 2 to 3 bass drones, and those are drones. Those are notes that basically are played. They are over the fingerboard, but they're not really fingered. And then you have 9 to 11 resonating strings. Let's listen to it. In this video, you actually have a group of musicians performing and singing at the same time. So your job is to figure out which one of these musicians has the 3 main tasks of music. Remember that there are 3 jobs that any musician could have as they perform. They could be performing the melodic material, they could be performing accompaniment, or which means the harmonic material, or they could be doing rhythm. Now, it is often the case that instrumentalists or singers are going to take on different roles. This is very deeply set in the Muslim tradition of the Sufi singers. And there is this tale that is being told in the song where you have an allusion to being a fakir. A fakir is this person that has abandoned everything, more of a religious person. And it really is a phenomenal performance. There is a crossing, a bit of a heterophonic exchange in here. Pay close attention.
जीते जीते उम्र गुजारी हुणे बेहाल फकीरां दा जीते दा मुल 4 कबड्डी होए हारे दा मुल हीरा हीरा भी लेंदे लखे करोड़े कबड्डी दा मुल कशीरा जे हार न मनिए बुलिया बे मुरसद बे पीरा आया अंदर मस्जिद अंदर मंदिर अंदर मस्जिद अंदर मंदिर राम रिझाया वो राम रिझाया अल्फ दिन बिलियन 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 बताया बनाया अल्फ दिन बिलियन 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 बताया बनाया नुकता यार बढ़ाया नुकता यार बढ़ाया साधु शब्द सिखाया साधु शब्द सिखाया अल्फ दिन बिलियन 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 नुकता यार बढ़ाया अल्फ दिन बिलियन 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 नुकता यार बढ़ा बढ़ा बढ़ाया
That is India. I hope that these lectures and this presentation has given you enough to be ready for your exam. The exam should be forthcoming. Don't have a date just yet for it. I want to see how you do with your other assignments, and we'll put in a hard date after that.
Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. Sariga magarisa papari sani pagati sari rigarisa sami pa ni pagar ni pagarisa ni ta ta ta. Dim 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 ta di di dim ta ta. Di di. Ta ta di di tum tum dum dum ta ta di di tum tum dum dum ta 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 di 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 tum 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 dum 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 ta 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 di 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 tum 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 dum 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 tam tari taka chunu dim tari taka chunu tari keda taka dam tari keda taka dam tari keda taka tari keda taka ta ta ta. Dim 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 ta di di dim